From the News Channel 5 Network, this is MorningLine.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine. I am Nick Barris. This is The Plus, and today is Wednesday. Okay, all right, we're in January, all right, but that just means 4 months, just 4 months. A little, well, you know, April 15th isn't far away. So tax time, we're in a new year. You know, I'm sorry. Let me start right now by apologizing for the fact that I'm bringing this up and reminding you that taxes are going to be due here soon. But you know what? The good side of this is many of you are going to be getting returns. The question is, are there changes? What's new? And you know, a lot of it may be staying the same, but we always like to do this program now so we can get ahead of the 8 ball and start getting it going. Now, I'm no tax expert, okay? In fact, I'm kind of a dummy when it comes to that kind of stuff. Fortunately, I have not been audited yet. Have you ever been audited? No, I haven't. But the woman who's about to join me makes a living making sure people don't get audited because she knows. She's some kind of savant, really. You look at her, she's got the brassy blonde hair. She's kind of kooky. She loves big dogs, okay? But she really knows her stuff. Let's talk to Dr. Friday Burke. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. She loves big dogs.
I do.
And that's one reason she likes me, because I'm a big dog.
Oh, yeah.
No. Okay, so what do you have now? Two
Great Danes.
Two Great Danes.
Two Great
I know
Danes.
what are
I've
their
always
names?
loved. I've got Max and Czar. Yes, I've loved my Great Danes.
They're wonderful dogs. Mary Elena had Great Danes, as you know, and she talked about just they're so even tempered. I mean, a dog that size, if it had bad intentions, could do some damage.
Well,
but they are the sweetest, most well-mannered, cool dogs.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I love about them. They're just laid back. They come to the office every day, so they just lay around all day. And I used to have, my sister had a Dachshund. He was a pretty cool little guy, but much more mouthy. You know, those little ones you've got to watch.
They make noise.
Gosh, yes.
And you know, one of your Great Danes just.
Yeah, well, they don't bother with it.
Yeah, Mary Elena calls them gentle giants.
That's exactly what they're called. Mary Elena's a smart woman.
Wow, they're good dogs. It's nice to see you. You always look the same. I've known you for years, going way back. You don't change.
I try not to.
What are you, 23, 24?
Yeah.
I'm serious. You seriously don't change. You always look great, and you always have so much energy, and I really appreciate you coming on this morning.
Thank you.
And as I said, tax time, not far. When do people start getting their W-2s? So
they have to have them by, the employers have to have them out by January 31st.
Okay, so people will start getting them, and if they're ready to go, they can apply real quick and get their returns before?
No. That's one of the big things I wanted to make sure, because they used to be, you get them, a lot of times people would get them the first 2 weeks or so of January, because a lot of people will put them out, and then you could usually, every year they've been pushing it. Last year was January 18th. This year it's January 23rd is when e-files can be accepted. And most people rushing in the early parts are people that have earned income or child credit, because they often get a large refund for that.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
And the IRS, the problem is there's a huge fraud in that, right? There's a lot of people that fake people's tax returns, or they kind of beat the spouse even though they're not the ones supposed to be getting the child. They get in there first. So they kind of got smart, and so now they aren't actually going to even release any funds for people with earned income or child credit until February 17th. They're saying don't expect it in the bank until February 27th.
Do they do direct deposits as opposed to sending direct checks
almost
now
always,
most of the time?
Yeah.
Now?
I mean, you can choose,
it
but almost everybody gets a lot, because normally it's within 21 days of when you file, and to be honest, we've been getting them with 7 to 10 days. So if you filed on like the 15th of or 17th of January, you would have had the money probably in your bank by like the 27th of January. Okay. Now it's going to be another month. And the problem is a lot of those people also go to places where they give them these rapid loans. So basically they borrow the money before. Well, that interest is like 25%. And now it's going to be an extra month long. So if you go in on January 2nd with your pay stub and you get that loan like you've always done, be prepared that you're going to lose a lot larger amount of money, and 25% of that refund, that's your own money that you're borrowing. That's, you can pull my hair out.
You just got me on something. It's a separate show. But you know what? Those cash businesses on every street corner. And you see the commercials where I got my cash and got my title back, or whatever it is. Now, and I am scratching my head. And I understand someone in short notice, maybe
emergency happens, you've got to have the money.
I'll just tell you though, I will find just about any other way than to go to one of those places if I needed cash like that. Only because you said, hey, they're legit. They're on. I mean, I don't know how honest they are.
It's within the law.
But they're within the law. They're running a legitimate business.
Absolutely.
But the interest rates are insane.
Well, that's it.
And I don't understand. And so I'm telling you, Tons of people must use that.
Oh my gosh!
I guess a lot
yes.
of people do.
We do
But
accounting for one of the companies. They make a lot of money on
is
people.
there money to be
and there's
made?
paycheck loans, is what they like to refer to them. And this is the same type of thing. But when it comes to IRS, there's two things. One, God forbid you don't get the refund. Now you've got this loan, like a paycheck loan, that's like 25. It's a ridiculous amount of interest rate. And the thing is, you've lived almost 12 months without that money. So what is the big rush? Why not wait the time and put 100% in your pocket than to let somebody make money off your money? It doesn't make any sense to me.
But people these days want it now.
And it's not a tax
and they
deduction.
provide the service. It's not a tax deduction, is it?
No, you can't deduct that interest that you paid somebody else.
I suppose in some cases people maybe use that because they have no other option and they need money right then for something. And I'm not talking about going and buying a new outfit.
No,
I'm talking about maybe paying a medical bill or something.
Or you're going to be able to pay rent because of it, right?
Before I did that, if I have it and have qualified, I'm going to run up my credit card first.
Well,
I would do that before going to one of those places.
There's
That's just me.
question. Me too.
I mean, but anyway.
Different show, and you're right. It is a pet peeve of mine. And every year I hear the commercials, go to my tax, and car lots say they'll prepare your taxes, and then they'll get the refund to put down on a new car. Hello, people. Do you really think they're going to find the right mistakes? I mean, they're going to look for the biggest refund they can get.
Yeah.
That may be...
You're asking for trouble.
Exactly.
I think
Be sure you don't have somebody that has an interest in your tax return doing your tax return. That, to me, is almost illegal.
I wanted to ask you, though, you did say about people these days and the fraud where I guess we've done stories on this where someone goes to apply for their tax return and someone has already used their identity to claim their return, which was then sent someplace else.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, if that happens to you and you had nothing to do with it, do you have recourse to get your return? Is it kind of where the federal government's like, oh, geez, okay, well, we got to make good on this? Well,
you do, but the problem is, again, how much time, right? It could take 6 months now to get your return.
Oh, well, yeah.
And this year they changed this. This year they've implemented several things. Okay, so the biggest thing was, of course, first, employers have to file the 1099s and W-2s by January 31st. We used to have to file them by February 28th in case there was a mistake from the day we gave it to our employee to when we filed it with the IRS, right? Everything goes in, so that way they've got the information 30 days before. Second thing, be prepared. Your preparer is going to be asking you for a copy of your 2015. You have to, as a preparer, I have to have your AGI of 2015 to e-file your tax return. So that way they're matching, am I really doing Nick's taxes, or is this somebody else, because they don't know what the AGI was on file last year. So they're really trying. I'll give the IRS, because this is not an easy thing.
What can the individual do? Obviously, try to protect your Social Security number so no one has that. I mean, identity theft, it's scary because it just can happen so easily. But if someone gets hold of your Social Security number and has some other background on you, they could try to fraudulently collect your tax return.
Well, that's true. Again, this year, you also notice on your W-2s, it'll have the last 4 digits, not the complete tax number on it.
Same
thing on the tax returns. We'll only have the last 4 digits.
This year, first time they're doing it?
This is the first year that actually was allowed. So again, like I said, the IRS really, I mean, I know they're usually the bad guys, but they really are trying to pump it up and say, hey, we understand, but a lot of people are saying, wait, well, I go to the bank, they want the full ID number, they're wanting this, so banks and stuff are having to adjust as well, right? Because that tax return only has 4 digits, and that kind of thing.
That's a good thing. So, the credit card companies have been doing that, I think, for some time, where now, in fact, I just booked an airline ticket, and they just needed the last 4 digits of my credit card number, so you're not throwing the whole thing out there, and I guess that's enough to work with.
Well,
especially if you have the security card.
I'm assuming you have the card on file somewhere, and maybe you're just having to put in to verify or something
exactly.
like that.
They've already had that, and that verifies it, but they don't have to keep transmitting it or something
which,
like
of course,
that.
is always risky, right? Because we have no idea who's kind of looking at our information in the internet. I mean, I have people that will take photocopies of their IDs. They'll text me their credit cards. I mean, the internet, unfortunately, people trust it way too much. Way too much.
Yeah, and it's changing because everyone's figuring out ways to hack into it and get your stuff. So anyway, that's just another thing to think and worry about. But I guess we'll open up the phone lines. If you have some questions, 737-7587. A lot of this you may already know. And, I don't know, how much is it changing this year from last year in your mind? Is there anything significant worth mentioning, or is it going to be status quo?
The penalty went up to 2.5 for the, I'm sorry, I guess everyone, the Obamacare or not having insurance.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, and some people are going to get.
So many people are going to get dinged again this year on the shared responsibility credit or whatever. And also making sure that people, last year we had a lot of people, 14 and 15, they're not getting a copy of the 1095A. That's what you get when you're actually part of the marketplace. It says this is how much you paid, this is how much the government paid. this was your credit, and that is vitally important because a lot of people's refunds or taxes got held up last year, the last 2 years on that. So those are kind of things that are changing. Well, hopefully will change again next year, but right now just be prepared that your bill may go up a little bit higher because of the 2.5% this year.
All right, and I know there may be some other things. We've got some calls coming in. We got to take a break. So when we come back, we'll go over some of the basics. You know, you can remind us what the standard deductions are these days and how all that shakes out. We'll go over just the basics for you, and then whether or not, if you have questions about, you know, are you one of those people that have a simple process for it to prepare your own taxes? Or if you need an expert like her, it just varies from person to person on what your background is. So we'll see if we can help you out. Phone line's open. Take a break. We'll be back with more right after this.